She thought I lied about amnesia, until she saw me with someone else. It began with confusion, not the ordinary kind that fades in seconds, but a storm inside my mind, a blank slate smeared with blurry emotions and broken fragments of a life I couldn't recognize. The hospital lights stung my eyes as voices echoed around me. Faces peered down with concern, but none of them sparked even the faintest recognition. I had lost my memory. Every moment of love, laughter, or pain was erased like chalk from a slate. But amidst the chaos, she stood beside me, clutching my hand like it was her lifeline. Her eyes were swollen from crying, yet beautiful in a way that made my heart ache with a longing I couldn't explain. They told me she was the one I loved, the one who loved me. She didn't leave my side for days. She fed me, cried beside me, and whispered stories of us. But I remained numb, feeling like an imposter in my own life. Her touch didn't spark memories, only guilt. Every time I saw her hopeful gaze, I felt like I was betraying a love I couldn't recall. She believed my amnesia was real. First. But days turned into weeks, and my heart, once hers, started drifting. Without any emotional anchor, I was blank, until I met someone else. Someone new. She had nothing to do with my past, no expectations, no shared history. Just present warmth. And I clung to it, selfishly, desperately. I didn't mean to fall in love. It was like instinct, two lost souls clinging to each other in the storm of their own brokenness. She smiled like it was okay not to remember, laughed like I had never been anyone else. I began to heal, not from memory, but from the ache of emptiness. It felt unfair yet painfully real. The other one, she noticed. Her eyes stopped sparkling. Her lips stopped smiling. She would stare at me for long stretches, like trying to recognize the man she once knew inside my hollow shell. One night she confronted me, voice shaking. "You're pretending, aren't you? You remember everything, you're just punishing me. Or testing me." Had no words. My silence broke her. She walked out, shattered, whispering that she wished I'd just told her the truth, even if that truth was that I didn't love her anymore. I didn't chase her. Weeks later she returned. Not to rekindle, but to collect what was left. Her presence didn't hurt me, it haunted me. And then, as fate would cruelly play, she saw me, hand in hand with the new girl, smiling, living, laughing. Her face crumbled. Her legs trembled. Her lips pressed tightly to suppress the scream that brewed inside her like a storm. Her tears poured freely, not just from heartbreak but betrayal. She believed I faked the amnesia to escape her, to twist the knife deeper into wounds she never showed. She didn't speak, just stared, then turned, and left with a silence louder than any goodbye. But behind that exit, a story brewed. One I couldn't yet grasp. You see, I thought I was building something new, but I had built it on top of something precious that I had forgotten. And what I didn't know, what would come to me much too late, was that she had a secret of her own. One that would flip everything I thought I knew. The pain she carried wasn't just from lost love. It was from the burden of truth. Because before the accident, just days before, I had promised her forever, with a ring. I had whispered vows into her ear beneath a candlelit sky. I had held her trembling fingers and told her I'd never forget her, even if the world forgot us. But now I was living a lie I thought was my truth, and she was left alone holding the shattered pieces of both our hearts. She disappeared after that day. No messages, no calls, no closure. The silence was haunting, the kind that made my chest feel heavier every morning and emptier every night. The girl I was with now tried her best to keep me afloat. She was warm, kind, understanding, but even she could sense that something inside me had shifted after seeing those tears. I told myself to move forward, to not get caught in a past I couldn't remember. But every smile I shared with my new companion began to feel hollow. Every time I laughed, I wondered whose heart I had broken to be standing here, blissfully ignorant. Slowly the guilt clawed into me. That moment, those eyes full of disbelief and betrayal, kept flashing before me like a nightmare with open eyes. One afternoon, I found an old diary among my hospital belongings. It had no name, but something drew me to it. The handwriting was messy at times, the ink smudged with tears, and every page was a whisper from a forgotten world. It wasn't mine, but it was about me. Or at least, the version of me that existed before the crash. Page after page I read of late-night walks, inside jokes, promises whispered in the dark, kisses under the rain, fears, dreams, and most painfully, love that ran deeper than skin, deeper than memory. She had written everything. Even the fights, the misunderstandings, the heartbreaks, and the making up. But the last entry shattered me. He said he wants forever. He said memory or no memory, he'd choose me all over again. He said even if the stars forget our names, his heart would remember the sound of my soul. And I believed him. God, I believed him. That night something inside me cracked. I sat in the dark, replaying those words, clutching the diary like it was my only anchor to who I truly was. The girl I was with now noticed my distance, my silence, the tears that sometimes fell without warning. I had to confess. I told her everything, that I didn't know who I truly was, that I may have loved someone else before the crash, and now, maybe I still did. She didn't scream. She simply smiled sadly and said, "Then you have to find her." So I did. I searched everywhere. The places she used to write about. The cafe where we first met. The bridge we kissed under. The bookstore where we used to read poetry to each other. Nothing. Weeks passed. Then one day, a stranger handed me a letter. No name. Just my name in a handwriting I now recognized like my own. The words inside burned into my bones. You don't need to remember me. Just remember who you were when you loved me. I'm not waiting. I'm not hiding. I've simply accepted that sometimes love isn't enough. Not when one heart remembers and the other doesn't. But I forgive you. And I hope you find peace in whatever version of life you choose to live now. I fell to my knees. I didn't deserve forgiveness. I didn't deserve her. But something shifted. Slowly, memories began dripping back like leaking water from a cracked ceiling. Her laugh, her scent, the way she used to look away when nervous, how she'd trace my palm like reading my future. I wasn't just remembering, I was reliving. I had to see her again. But when I finally found her, I wasn't ready for what I saw. She was walking through the hospital lobby, holding a baby, alone, fragile, beautiful. My legs buckled. The child looked like me. I stood there, breath stolen from my lungs. She turned and our eyes met. Time froze. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just looked at me, as if unsure if I was real or just a cruel echo. I moved closer, heart beating like a war drum. Is he? She nodded. I didn't know, I whispered, my throat closing up. I know, she said softly. That's why I never told you. The silence between us was sharp enough to bleed. I reached out to hold the baby, but she stepped back. He doesn't need confusion. He needs peace. I remember, I said, voice breaking. Not everything, but enough. I remember loving you. I remember our promises. Her lips quivered. Too late. I nodded slowly. Maybe, but maybe not forever. She didn't speak, just held the child closer. I dropped to my knees, eyes locked on hers. If there's even a chance, I want to know my son. I want to know you again. Not because of pity, but because even when my mind forgot, my heart always knew something was missing. A long silence followed. And then, just before she turned to leave, she whispered, "We'll see," and walked away. But this time, she didn't close the door. She left it open just a little. Enough for hope to slip through. Enough for me to step back into the life I had once lost. End.